finally feel good to put the pads on?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I tell everyone all the time, as a tight end blocking on the edge, that's no fun without pads. Especially with some of the athletes we have on the edge. No pads, you can't get into them. It's no fun. So I love when the pads come on for sure.
Durham, what did you tell today about the team in pads that you couldn't tell last week out of pads?
Yeah, I think the one thing that was pretty evident was just how professional this team is. A lot of teams that I've been on and that you see throughout the league, day one, day two of pads, there's a lot of wasted time with fights or whatever, people tapping out. I think everyone came in today with a plan to attack. There was no skirmishes or anything like that wasted time. So I think more than anything, this team is very professional.
What do you see in the front seven defensively this year?
Yeah, I mean, really you could say front like 11. We rotate those guys and they're all very talented. I think it's the most talented front seven in the NFL. It's definitely the most talented I've seen here in 5 years. And I think that's obviously star players in every position, but the depth too. Guys can just roll in and there's no slack. So it's definitely a chore to go up against every day, but it's an iron sharpens iron situation.
There's so much has been said this summer about heat. How do you, number one, how do you deal with it? Number two, do you feel any kind of difference? It's always hot here, but is there any difference?
Yeah, I mean, you got to just embrace it. When I first came here in 2018, I was falling out of practice every day during training camp because that's how tough it is, and especially with guys that sweat a lot. You have to embrace it, though. It's coming. There's really nothing you can do besides know that you have to be prepared in terms of hydration and stuff, and then you guys you have to just attack it. It's going to be the same every time, and you definitely notice a difference in September when teams come here or we go somewhere else and it's a little cooler. There's obviously a very large difference.
Yeah, a lot of the offensive guys are talking about how much more comfortable they are in Mike's offense. From the tight end position and your experience, what are some like the little nuances?
Yeah, specifically this time of year. Last year I think we were all just kind of figuring it out. Now, I can turn to a tackle or Alec in the backfield and we can change a play basically without having to change a play. We can go to different spots, whatever, and we all know we're on the same page. So I think that above everything else is very evident at this point during the season. Whereas last year I think we were just going out there and trying to play fast and kind of just wishing.
Is it weird having your first training camp without Mike here?
It is. I tell people that OTAs was kind of weird because that's, a long time spent in the building without him. But now, it's kind of business as usual. We're back to it. We brought in a lot of good guys, so there's still a lot of he'd be on this team that I can, hang out with.
So who's your replacement best friend?
Oh man, I can't say that. If I said that, I'd get a call in 10 minutes in there, and he'd be yelling at me. But I think the tight end room in general is great. We brought in a lot of guys that have played a lot of football, kind of know how to be a guy in the locker room. So it kind of picks up where we left off last year.
What did you see from the young tight ends, like Julian Hill,
Very talented, both of them, honestly. Every year we bring in people, and everyone's talented that gets to this level, whether you're an undrafted free agent or you're drafted. But these guys, I think, are different than a lot of the guys we've brought in the past, just because of how physically ready they are. They feel like they're NFL guys. A lot of times it takes time to transition to that. You're kind of swimming for a while. Both of these guys are physically ready. Obviously, there's things that rookies have to deal with, but in terms of being football players, these are two good football players.
When you talk about front seven and the talent there, for guys like yourself who have been here for a long time, how have you guys kind of raised your expectation or level of play, knowing with everything else that came in to kind of bring this team all the way where it is right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, with the guys on the edge and how much depth we have there, every rep for us on offense, especially on the edge, tight ends, tackles, fullbacks, it's every rep you're getting better or you're going to get embarrassed out there. And I think that's something that in the past, you go out there, if there's not as much depth, you can, not have your best rep and still win it. That's not how it works anymore on the edge. So I think when you have that on the other side of the ball, we're getting better every play, and I think that'll, continue to stack and show as the season goes on.
Durham, when you talk about no skirmishes, no wasted time, professionalism out here, what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? How will that manifest itself in the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just it translates in a lot of ways. When there's adversity in the middle of the season, teams can quit or fight with each other, things like that. And obviously, it's one day of pads, so I'm not saying that we're perfect out there by any means. But I think we showed, specifically compared to the years in the past, that this team's capable of that. When adversity comes, I think these are a bunch of professionals in that locker room that'll handle it well.
From an offensive standpoint, what's the biggest challenge of picking up pads on defense?
I think it's a lot of things. I think structurally it's the disguise. The secondary obviously does a great job. A lot of smart guys in our secondary, and with Vic's defense, they can disguise things to the last second. And what that does for us in the middle of the field is number 3 receivers, tight ends, slot receivers. You're looking at the safeties after the snap, and you're having to change your route, 5-10 yards down the field. So that can definitely get confusing at times. And I think on the edge, it's letting those guys kind of be themselves. They can do whatever they want as long as they win. And when you have athletes like we do on the edge, that's tough when they're kind of let loose like that.